What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The David Lopez Show, presented by Passion Park ENT. You know what it is. I am glad to be back in a very strange circumstance, same as last week. So I am recording to you. Who knows what days are anymore now, living in this quarantine life. It's today's Monday. Today's Monday. Yeah, it's all a blur. So I've been quarantined now for, the past couple of days. I mean, got to leave the house a little bit, but really trying to take this whole thing serious and not try to get anybody sick or just, not try to keep this thing going. We got to flatten the curve, so it's, well, I'm not here to, to give a PSA, but just, if I could give my own 2 cents would be, yes, absolutely listen to, what people are saying and try to stay in and just, just don't be selfish. Just now's not a time for that. That's how you got to think about it. Like staying in the crib is actually the right thing to do. Unless you are an essential worker, whereas you probably have to go to work as my wife does. So that's going on in my family. So we have to deal with that where I'm here at the crib and she's out, exposing herself and on the front lines doing her thing. And that's can be a scary thing at a time like this. What a weird time we are living in, guys. But I hope you are finding some bit of joy and normalcy in your time at home or wherever you're at during this crazy time. I don't really know how else to describe it, but I hope you are, I hope you're enjoying some content. There's so many good shows out there. If there was ever a time for this to happen, that we're prepared for in terms of entertainment at home, now's the time. There's so many different things. I've had plenty of FaceTime chats with some friends. We'll have a smoking session over FaceTime with a couple friends. My wife had a Snapchat session with 8 girls. So everybody's still finding ways to connect with people. And then the conspiracy theorists would have the fear that this is where the world's heading. They don't want anybody, everybody's gonna be in the house. They can't leave the house, but we're not gonna lose human connection. Oh man. And just to go on a little bit more of a rant to start this episode off, I saw on CNN last night, Sean Penn was on, the actor. It's funny. It made me think of the Dave Chappelle sketch where after 9/11 they asked Ja Rule what he thought, and they're like, "Get Ja on the line." I don't give a fuck what Ja Rule thinks about 9/11. Sean Penn, he's an actor, but he, he's a political or he's a activist and whatever. But he did make a good point that all these conspiracy theorists that are worried about us losing our freedoms and shit right now, he's man, from all his experiences with people in the army and the most badass people in the country who are taking care of us and making us safe, those motherfuckers are even more intensely aware of their freedoms and not trying to get rid of them. So they ain't just listening to orders to do some shit that might affect their freedoms. I just don't think that's to all the conspiracy theorists. That shit ain't happening. This is just a real thing that we're trying to deal with right now. And it's real. And this is what I have to say to that,
Coronavirus! I'm telling you, it's real. It's getting real.
Fucking Cardi. When you need Cardi to come through with a clutch soundbite, she did it right away. Coronavirus. Shit is real. Oh man. But you wish more people would take it serious. We keep seeing these videos of these people in Florida that are just going berserk on spring break, just not giving a fuck. Just they're in California. There's people playing basketball. There's this fucking dumbass that I've been seeing all over the news.
If I get corona, I get corona. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna let it stop me from partying.
At the end of the day, I'm not gonna let it stop me from partying. If I get corona, I get corona, bro. I get it, bro. I mean, the thing about that is, if this kid grows up and in 20 years he sees this, you have to think he's gonna feel like an idiot. If he gets there, or maybe that's just the way he lives his life, bro. If I get it, bro. I'm here to party. I'm here for a good time, not a long time, But we got to take this shit serious, man. Flatten the curve. You want to be on the right side of history. I mean, I said this in posts and stuff, but it's the truth. I can't go see my grandma right now. I just talked to my dad and he talked to her and she's doing all right. So, I mean, and I talked to my grandma on the phone the other day. I mean, I can't go see her because she's in a nursing home and, those are on lockdown. So there's just so many things that are affected by this. It sucks. It's a tough situation, but yeah, But yeah, so I just wanted to say that right off top, obviously, put my 2 cents in on that. But we're gonna try to get away from some of the serious stuff, just to give you something to think about differently for the next couple 10 minutes, because it'll probably be like a 30-minute episode. So how do you say for the next half hour? How about that? Just take that. But before I get into this episode, which is going to be a special, it's going to be a 3 or 4 part series, probably a 3-part series that I'm going to do here for this. But before I get into that, I just want to say that this Wednesday night at 10 o'clock, I am going to be releasing So Much More 2, the documentary. It is a short film that I made. It is surrounding a special performance I did in December of 2018, so 2 years ago. A special private performance I did where it was like a one-man show style version of that album. So Much More 2 was before the album came out. So I took some footage from that show and then from some other just like behind the scenes things, me working on the album, things like that. And I put them all together and I made this short film that's called So Much More 2, the documentary. So that is going to be premiered on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/David Lopez Passion Park, at 10 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday night. So you can join the premiere, we can chat, we can talk as it's going on, but then also it'll just be live after that, so you can just check it out. So make sure you go subscribe, stay tuned, check out the album if you want to get a chance to listen to it before, or hopefully you watch this short film and then you want to listen to the album after. So I'm hoping, get some more listens to that project from this, but I'm excited to release that as I've been working on it for a little bit, finally getting that footage out. So yeah, please check that out. Wednesday night at 10 o'clock. As I was saying, I hope there's a lot of good content out for people to watch. I feel like as somebody who tries to make content, I have a responsibility myself during this time to try to make as much good content as I can, to try to make sure that people, not that people are necessarily going to stay in the crib because I'm releasing a short film Wednesday night. But as somebody who's in that sphere where I make content and try to get fans to listen regularly, this is my time to really do it and to try to make people have stuff to hang out with, but also we gotta be comfortable with being bored too. I mean, that we've all forgotten that boredom used to be a normal part of life. Not really anymore. All right, let's get into the fucking show.
David Lopez is the name. It's my show. Welcome to it.
All right. So obviously there is no sports going on right now. There are all these replays of old games, which is pretty cool. And then also NBA League Pass and NFL package are now just letting fans watch the games for free, which is pretty sweet. So there's old games on. I got to see just like a random regular season game this year of it was like Bucks Nuggets, like so weird. And then I was watching something like that, like old Bulls game on. Oh, they had I was watching Jazz versus Rockets from '96, Stockton, Malone. That was entertaining. So that's good stuff. But anyways, there's no live sports going on right now, and we don't really know what's going to happen here. I mean, obviously we're playing this by ear. Every day is different. New news with this coronavirus. We don't know if sports are going to come back. We don't know if the NBA is going to come back. The NBA came to a screeching halt, and their season was postponed when Rudy Gobert was diagnosed with coronavirus on March 11th. Yep. I know that because I was working that night at the bar, and the news came out, and we were like, "Holy shit! What the?" It was crazy. That was like in a weird way, Rudy Gobert. That kind of woke up the world, at least it woke up the American culture, because we're so stupid we don't listen until a celebrity or an athlete gets it. And the Tom Hanks thing, following suit, that really got people to wake up and be like, "Oh, everybody's getting this." But anyways, so. There's rumors that the NBA might start again in a couple of months. I mean, they're looking into possibilities of renting venues and just like how it would work, logistically speaking, how it would work to have that happen if they were going to bring back the season. And let's just say right off the top, everybody's saying if they do bring back the season, there's not going to be fans. It's just going to be on TV. It's just going to be how it is, which is, crazy to think, but that's probably going to be how it is, at least this summer. And then I was listening to somebody else, and they were saying that the deadline looks like it'll be September 1st, or not September 1st, Labor Day. Is they need everything to finish by Labor Day. So whether it's the season just ends with how it is right now, and then they just go right into the playoffs, and then just have to have a really expedited, fast playoff version and get it done by Labor Day, that would probably be the possibility. That's probably what we're thinking here. I mean, unless they play a couple regular season games before the playoffs start, or maybe you call them a couple preseason type games just to warm up, something like that to get back in the groove. I don't know, but in this imaginary world that I'm going to create here for these next couple episodes, we're just going to go with the idea that the NBA season ends with how it is right here. 1 through 8 in the East and West, the seeds are what they are when the season ended on March 11th. With everybody at that makes the Bucks the number 1 record in the NBA at 53-12, and the Lakers with the second best record at 49-14. And then we have the seeds like that. We're just gonna imagine that the season ended right there, right? And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna have the 2020 NBA Playoffs Special Edition. We gonna do it. We gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna go through round by round. Today is going to be round 1. I'm going to go through all the matchups. I made the full bracket. I went through some of the matchups. I went through some of their head-to-head matchups throughout the regular season and how they would just might match up in the playoffs. So today is round 1 of the 2000. Today is round 1 of the 2020 NBA Playoffs, maybe special edition on the David Lopez. Here is round 1. All right, let's get into this shit. I should have had a better noise for that. Let's see here. Here is round 1 of the David Lopez Show NBA Playoff Special Edition. Not the right noise. Not the right noise. All right, let's try one more time. How about this? Oh, and here we are. Let's do it. I got to work out. I'm still cleaning up my board. You see, I got a couple sounds on there. I don't have everything, but we'll get it. We're going to start in the Eastern Conference. So what I'm going to do here, I've gone through and got the head-to-head matchups, like the win-loss record for every matchup for the first round. And then I just want to briefly, I don't want to take the whole time on all these matchups. It's going to take a little bit, but I want to go through what I think like a headline will be, or like the story of that series would be. Just like what'll come up that'll be like a funny headline for it. So starting with the East, starting with the best record in the NBA, as we just said, the Bucks will be the 1 seed, and the 8 seed in the East will be the Orlando Magic right now as it stands. As you might guess, the Bucks beat the Magic all 3 times during the regular season. They only played. Now, see, that's the thing. A lot of these these regular season matchups, they only played. They didn't play all there was another scheduled game for most of these games. But whatever, we're gonna go with what we got. So the Bucks beat the Magic all 3 times. The weird stat I found is that the Bucks scored 111, 111, and then 110 in all those matchups. So they're right in that 110 range for them, and the Magic are pretty much around 90 to 100 for those games particularly. Whatever, not that exciting. It's a 1-8 matchup. You don't expect it to be big. I'm going to go Bucks in 5. The Magic steal one of the home games probably. So here's what I would predict for the series, right? Bucks go up 3-0. Dominance from Giannis. It's pretty easy. I would say the Bucks win at least 2 of those 3 games by at least 20. One of those games will be somewhat close. Game 4, Aaron Gordon has a great game at home. Bucks crowd gets into it. They win. Pretty, I don't know, if close game. Maybe they win by like 8, something like that. And then the Bucks come home for Game 5 and just put the whooping on the Magic. And then I think they take it out in 5. That's what I would go with. I think the storyline of that series, if I have to go with one, would just be that it's funny because the storylines might also be that these teams are like, oh, they still have it after these 2 months off. Like, oh, the Bucks still have it. And I think that's kind of going to be part of this. Is going to be like the Bucks are going to easily handle the Magic, and they're going to still have some of their groove. I mean, Giannis being their best player, one of the best players in the NBA, he's the guy that's always motivated. He's not going to slack off during this break. He's going to be really in tune and really worked out and in shape, I'm sure. So I think it's going to be like, oh, the Bucks still have it. Giannis looks as dominant as ever. The Bucks should still be the East favorite. That'll be like the storyline, I'm guessing, that comes out of that series. So we're going to go Bucks in 5. Bucks in 5 for that. I mean, I guess I could write these down. I don't necessarily think I need to because I'm just going to put down for the next round. Bucks. All right. Well, what I should do here for you guys. Actually, I already took a picture of this, and I'll put it side by side, but I'm just going to put it right up next to the camera for you. There's the actual bracket. Probably can't even see it on there. I'll put up an actual image of it for you guys. But we're going to have the Bucks moving on here, right? All right. And just like I do with the NFL regular season picks, I'm legitimately picking them right here on camera. I mean, I have gone through the ideas and stuff, but I haven't made like all the full picks. Not that that's a big thing. It's also funny because we can't validate and prove these because we don't even know if this will happen. Funny, though, if it does happen like this, you'll know exactly what we were talking about before. That'd be crazy. All right, next East matchup. It's going to be the 4-5 matchup. So the winner of this series obviously will play the Bucks in the second round. And this is a pretty intriguing matchup. It's the Heat at the 4 seed. So they'll be the home team playing the Pacers. The Pacers now have Oladipo. He's healthy again. The Heat and Pacers played once this regular season. They would have played again. Actually, I think they were going to schedule to play the night that all the games got postponed. Or like right after that night, maybe the next night. But they played once and the Heat won by 1. So it was a close game. The Pacers, when they were playing well, looked like a very formidable team for the East, like a very competitive team. But the Heat as well, when they look really good. And I just got to say in the playoffs, I mean, Oladipo is their superstar, so you would still trust him. Sabonis was an all-star this year. But Jimmy Butler and then having Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero and just the other guys they got on that team that are experienced. They got even Dragic off the bench. He's been in the playoffs before. So I definitely think the Heat would go. And I would go for that series. I would go Heat in 6. I'd go Heat in 6. I think the Pacers have a good home court. I think it'll be a competitive series. But I just don't think it'll go 7. I think the Heat will take them out in 6. Storyline for that. Well, first off, Spoelstra and the young guys. It's going to be their defense, probably. Their defense is going to really ramp it up. And I think Jimmy Butler is going to have... It's going to be, can Jimmy be the number one guy on a team that goes to the finals or on a team that goes really far? Can Jimmy be that? Because he's never... I mean, when he's on those Bulls teams and he was the number one guy, they were never that good. And then on the Sixers teams, he wasn't really the best guy on that team, but he was that edge piece that they needed. He was like that he thought that everybody thought he was that X factor that they needed. And he frankly was a big help for them. So now this is like his chance to be the guy on a team where he's leading all these young guys. And Adebayo is great. So having him there with him, but there's no doubt that Jimmy's the guy on that team. So it's going to be, can Jimmy lead a team far in the playoffs? Can he do that? I mean, I said the finals, but I think in general, just far or make, I mean, if they lose to the Bucks, I don't think anybody would, fault them for that. The Bucks have been a better team all season, but if they can make it competitive and Jimmy can really come and show out, we could have something there. You know, that'd be interesting. Just I would like to see that matchup of the Heat versus the Heat are the team that beat the Bucks recently, pretty handily. I think the Heat have beat the Bucks twice in the regular season. I haven't gotten to that regular season matchup because that's the second round, which will be next. But that would be an interesting matchup, and I actually don't want to get into all the things that I was gonna say about that potential matchup. Because I'll save that for the second round special. That's the next episode. So the Bucks and Heat are who I picked to get on there. Now this next matchup is my favorite matchup in the East, unless something else happens. But I'll tell you. So right now, the 3-6 matchup in the East would be the Celtics at 3 against the 76ers at the 76ers. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, all the talent. They made it to the Eastern Conference. I mean, they made it to the Eastern Conference semifinals and almost the Eastern Conference finals last year. I mean, what? They are the 6th seed. They had a very disappointing regular season, as most everybody would admit. I don't know how they can't deny that. It was a very disappointing season. I mean, there was injuries that plagued that, a lot of chemistry issues. Joel Embiid looks like he doesn't try sometimes, but when he does try, he's great. Then he gets hurt all the time. It's just tough. But they're one of those teams that when it's all clicking, they got so much fucking talent. I mean, they get Tobias Harris, like just talent wise, that team, that roster has they should have been a top 3 seed for sure. But the Celtics have had a great season, really. You know, losing Kyrie was the best thing that happened to them, really, as I've talked about many times on this podcast. And I like Kyrie, I like watching Kyrie, but I don't like him on my team if I got young talent, I'll tell you that. I like him on my team if I either have LeBron James or if I have a shitty team that I just want somebody fun to watch. That's the only guys. I really like Kyrie on my team. But so the Celtics have had a great year, and this whole coronavirus situation and the pausing of the NBA season, I think does affect the Celtics in a great way in that they were really playing well. Jason Tatum was like coming into form as a superstar. I think I talked about him a couple weeks ago in here. That they were like, it was, I mean, you would imagine the playoffs would start here in a couple of weeks. They would be like, it would probably be hitting strides, getting everybody healthy going into the playoffs. And with the young guys starting to play in the right way, this is probably a time they wanted to get into the playoffs. Whereas if they got matched up in this with the Sixers want to take a couple of months off to get everybody healthy, and then they would be ready to play. They would not be your normal 6 seed. So this Celtics-Sixers matchup would, I would, if everybody's healthy for the Sixers, I'd probably have to favor the Sixers here, even though they're a 6 seed. And during the regular season, to go along with that, the Sixers did beat the Celtics 2 out of 3 times. With that third one, I don't think they were healthy when the Sixers lost to the Celtics anyways. I don't think Embiid was playing. I think it was just Simmons. But anyways, that being said, I'm gonna run this back as if they're healthy, as if the Sixers have Embiid and Simmons together for the whole series. And the Celtics are healthy too, so that's including Hayward, including everybody that was hurt. They have them all. Okay. Because Kemba was hurt for the Celtics for a little bit, but let's say he's healthy. Let's say the rosters are all healthy. I think this would be a great series, and I think I gotta go with Sixers in 7. Well, I don't know. So okay, I'm gonna go Sixers in 7. Actually, no. I said that wrong. I said that wrong because that is what I thought, and I thought wrong. My actual prediction here, I think, would be Celtics in 7. I think Jason Tatum would probably hit a big shot in the stretch, and the Celtics would be at home too. So game 7 would be at home in Boston. I think the storyline for this would be, there would be 2 storylines. One would be, is Jason Tatum an MVP candidate? It would be following this playoff run the next season. Is he going to be a candidate to be an MVP that next season? Because this guy looks like he might blow out to be. I think I said this recently, like he might be potentially be an MVP in the future, and I think that could be the storyline if they play, because he's got that clutch gene too. I like the way he plays in the playoffs. So he doesn't look scared. And then I think another part of that storyline would be, this would be the second year that the Sixers lose in a game 7 in a brutal fashion to a team that people think they should beat. As in last year, they lost to the Raptors on that Kawhi Leonard buzzer beater. Heartbreaking. If you were a Sixers fan last year, God, that was just brutal. Joel Embiid just crying in his girlfriend's arms after. But I mean, shit, that was a tough way to lose. So I think it would be both. It would be Tatum for MVP. Is this really going to happen? And then it would be, are the Sixers ever going to be able to get over the hump? I think they would be talking about breaking up the Simmons and Embiid thing, and maybe the end of Brett Brown. I think they probably would break it up, actually. I think if they lose in that first round, if this playoffs happen and they lose in the first round, I think there's a great chance that Embiid, Simmons, and Brett Brown get broken up. If the season just ends like it is now and they don't even play a playoffs, then they probably are just going to run it back next year. So this whole possible playoff thing has a lot of implications here. This could change what teams are next year. Because I think most teams might just be complacent and just stay with where they are and say this was an incomplete and we'll just redo it next year if it just ends like it is. But we're not living that way. We're going with if these playoffs happen, baby. All right, so I got the Celtics advancing in 7 over the Sixers. And then the final Eastern Conference first round matchup will be the number 2 seed Raptors, which would probably be one of the better stories of the NBA. Just losing Kawhi Leonard, the finals MVP, and still coming through and being 46-18. I mean, they had like a 15-game winning streak in the regular season. Just wild. Just so good stuff for them. Nick Nurse is showing that he not only was a great coach when he won the championship last year, but he's a great coach with this squad right now. And I think they'll be a tough out in the playoffs. They don't have that superstar, which most successful NBA playoff teams have, like that really big superstar. And I just don't think Pascal Siakam or Fred VanVleet fall into that category, but or Kyle Lowry, I should say his name. I don't think they fall into that category at all. I mean, even though he's an all-star. So that's the thing they got going against them, but they're a great team, well coached. They play defense and they've been there. They've been to the finals. They've all won a championship. That really matters in these situations. Now they're playing, this is the most interesting potential story for the playoffs. If they were to start, let's just say they start in June, right? Let's just say they start in June. That's a couple more months. The Raptors would be playing the 7 seed Nets. The Nets were 30-34, so under 500. That's what happens when you're in the Eastern Conference. The 7 seed gets in, and they're under 500, although the West has the 8th seed is under 500. Anyways, the Nets. Okay, so in a couple months, here's the hypotheticals. Would Kyrie be healthy? And would KD be healthy? What if I heard somebody saying this for like the Vegas odds, because the Vegas odds on the Nets to win the finals is like super low. But what if they start the finals in June or August and then fucking KD and Kyrie are healthy and then they have all of them and they were the 7 seed? That would just be fucking insane. But I just wanted to put that out there because that would be crazy. Could you imagine that? I don't think that'll happen. I think KD's guy, his Rich Kleiman, his manager or whatever, I think he already said KD's not playing no matter what. I don't know about the Kyrie situation. I'm gonna treat this series as if Kyrie is healthy, KD's not. So it's basically how they were most of the season. And with that being said, the Raptors are winning the series. I just do not trust a Nets team led by Kyrie. I don't trust any team really led by Kyrie. He needs to have another guy who can make the guys on his team like him and stay together, and Kyrie can just go get a bucket. That's what he needs. He's just a bad glue guy. I don't know. He's just a bad chemistry guy, bad glue guy. I don't know. I'm gonna go Raptors. I'm gonna go Raptors and I'm gonna say they're gonna win this in 6. Well, the Nets will get 2 games probably. I mean, Dinwiddie or Karis LeVert, one of them will go off and just get buckets, and they'll have like 1 or 2 victories. But I'm gonna go Raptors in 6. And the storyline for it is going to be what I just said. Can Kyrie lead a team? Can he be the A on a team? I mean, we know talent-wise he can, but can he be a leader on a team? That'll be the question. That will be the question. I do think so. All right. So that's the East round 1. We're going to move on to the restaurant run. Let's do it. Let's do it, baby. All right, so in a similar fashion as the East, the 1-8 matchup I'm going to go down that way. The 1-8 matchup is Lakers at the 1 seed. They finished the season with 49 and 14. I don't want to say finish the season. Asterisk temporarily finished this partial season, however you want to say it. The Lakers finished at 49 and 14, right? Number 1 seed. And for how this finishes with the partial season, the Grizzlies would finish in that 8 seed. There was a lot of talks about Zion coming back and pushing the Pelicans towards possibly getting that 8 seed. In all honesty, the Pelicans were 3.5 out of the 8 seed, and there's only what are they? So the Grizzlies are 65. So there's only 17 games left, and they're 3.5 out. I mean, they could do it, but it's hard. It's difficult. So we're just going to stop it with where it's at. So leave it at the Lakers versus Grizzlies, right? First off, I got to watch Lakers Grizzlies. It was on TV whenever that was. The Lakers are a better team. They have way more talent. This is obvious. There's a reason they have the second best record in the league. But the Grizzlies have a lot of scoring capability, and they're really high up tempo. And Ja Morant is so talented, and he's going to win Rookie of the Year. That they can at least run with them and score with them sometimes. So like it's entertaining. So like I could definitely watch that. I mean, Lakers Pelicans would be very entertaining too, because they can definitely score with them. Then they have the talent, but they don't have the veteran leaders. They don't have all the talent. They have some of the talent the Pelicans do. But for the Grizzlies, from what I saw, have a lot of good talent, and just Ja Morant's a good leader, and he runs that team well, and they play defense, and so I think it'll be good. But that being said, Lakers in 5, Grizzlies. No, Lakers sweep. Lakers will sweep this. This is. I don't know why. I was just trying to be nice. There's always sweeps in round 1. I'm really saying there's not going to be. I know I said the Bucks were going to win in 5, and that could very well be a sweep. But I'm going to leave that Lakers sweep. But Ja Morant has one nasty poster dunk in the series, and the storyline. Storyline would be Ja Morant's first playoff run really struggles, but shines in like maybe he has one good game, and there's like there's just like some silver lining. They'll be like, he's good, but he's gonna struggle. He's gonna struggle in that round 1 against the Lakers, I think, and I think that might be part of the storyline, and also just like how good the Lakers are. They're gonna just easily beat the Grizzlies, I think. Okay, now, see, the West has just some great first round matchups. So maybe I'll go play these on NBA 2K. If all my people who play NBA 2K out there, if you guys want to simulate some of these matchups and help me out here, let me know. Let me know what you got there, and I'll use those in my my analysis here. All right, so in the 4-5 matchup here in the West, the Jazz would finish at the 4 seed. The Jazz have a ton of storylines with the whole coronavirus situation basically popping off with their squad. I guess what's still interesting about the whole Rudy Gobert situation is nobody said if they know how he got it. Was he traveling in a different way? I mean, whatever, just a very interesting situation. But so the Jazz are the 4 seed and the Thunder are the 5 seed. The Thunder led by Chris Paul. have had a surprisingly good season as well. 40-24 for those Thunder, and they look good. Like, I got to watch them. I like watching them play. They play together. The crowd in OKC is wild. Now, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking in my head like, wow, crowd factor is not even going to be in these playoffs. So, like, that's something to be thought about, because like back in the day, last year, you would say like Oakland, Golden State, like their crowd is crazy. I mean, they were just the best team anyways, but their crowd's crazy, so you could factor in crowd craziness and OKC as well. But this playoff run that I'm projecting for, no crowd run, no crowd. Also, a side note, if this season gets completely canceled, an interesting thing to consider would be that the Warriors are going to be really good next year, right? Because Steph's going to be back, Clay's going to be back, Draymond will be in. They have Andrew Wiggins. They will likely get a lottery pick, or they will get a lottery pick. So they should be really good. It's technically the Warriors' streak to the finals, I guess, would be alive, because there would be no finals in 2020. So I guess, nobody made the finals in between the Warriors' run. It technically wouldn't be in. No, it would. Their streak would technically be alive. So that means next year they could continue their final streak. That's weird. I heard that today on a podcast, and I was like, oh, that's a weird way to look at it, but that's totally true. But so Jazz Thunder round one. Now, can the Jazz recover team wise, chemistry wise? A lot of the locker room things are coming out saying that the guys were mad at Rudy Gobert. He wasn't taking it serious before he got diagnosed. He was touching the microphones. They said he was touching bags, doing all these things, and with all that happening, then Donovan Mitchell gets coronavirus as well, and so there was heard to be a team chemistry issues. I think Wojnarowski reported, he's like, well, they got to worry about if the season starts again, how their chemistry is going to be and how they're going to get along. They'll probably be, I'm sure there's been apologies and people will get over things like that. So I'm not so much, but there still might be some rifts. And I just think this is going to be some weird. It would be an interesting thing to watch. There'd be two ways. It'd be like the Jazz can't put it back together. Their team chemistry can't get back together, or it'd be like everybody collectively comes together and they unite and they build each other up and they become like this great team and they play through it. And then they'll be playing the Thunder, who are this young team who's coming together. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's a baller to go along with Chris Paul and all them, and Danilo Gallinari. If he's healthy, he's one of those guys too who's like really good but not always healthy. So because with those two storylines I was just saying, it goes two different ways. If they have the chemistry blow-ups, the Thunder come through and win, and then that would be the storyline. It would be like the Jazz are going to have to blow it all up. Mitchell and Gobert can't play together anymore. But I think the other storyline is going to be the one that prevails. The Gobert and Mitchell are gonna make up. They're gonna struggle at game 1 and 2, and then like game 3 and 4 they have the connections. They start to like really feel it, and they all unify, come back together, and the Jazz are this good story. And I got Jazz over the Thunder in 7. That's what I got in 7. I think it'll be a great series. It'll be just one of those great series, and it'll be also, I think it'll add to Chris Paul's legacy on the good side. Just as a reminder to people, like, that Rocket situation wasn't really him. They got far. They got to Western Conference Finals, and frankly, that was his best shot at winning a championship, and he really had a chance. But like, these situations are him. Like, I always remember Chris Paul from being like the dude on like those shitty Hornets teams or like those Pelicans teams where he was just like the dude, or the Clippers teams even, like where he was running the show and with these young guys, bossing them around. Yeah, he's kind of a dickhead sometimes, but he's a baller. Like, and that's what people need to remember. Like, I think people were thinking like he would washed up in Washington and shit, or in Houston and shit, but I don't think he's washed up, man. I've been watching him this year. He's been balling. He also said he's on that meatless diet for the past couple of years. That's really helped him. I don't know the past couple of years, but at least the past year, because that's helped him. He said lose weight, gain his ups back. If you saw him with that 2-handed dunk in the All-Star game. So I'm not that I'm promoting that. I eat meat, but I'm just saying it's an interesting thing he did with the switch up the diet, and that affected his performance. I think that's definitely something to be said for that. All right, we got 2 matchups left before we are done with this playoff spectacular number 1. The 3-6 matchup. This is another great matchup. And speaking of the Rockets, who I was just talking about, Nuggets at the 3 seed versus the Rockets at the 6 seed. And the Rockets beat the Thunder 2 out of 3, or the Rockets beat the Nuggets 2 out of 3 this regular season. And it'd be another one of these both the 6-3 matchups in both conferences are very interesting in that the 6 seed almost seems to be more talented and has the bigger names, but the 3 seed is a better team. Like, the Celtics and the Nuggets, better teams than the Sixers and the Rockets, but the Rockets and the Sixers have the bigger names, bigger superstars. They have more all-stars. So the Rockets are doing this experiment of small ball, which I don't think would fly against these Nuggets because Jokic is huge, and he's also like such a good passer and skilled player at a guard that I think he would just shred that short defense. And then I think that the Nuggets already run well enough that the Rockets wouldn't surprise them enough with it. I think it would be a really good series. I could see the Rockets beating the Nuggets. It would have to, you would have to get a monster series from Westbrook and Harden, and I just don't think they're deep enough. They only play like 8 guys with that small ball lineup. See, that's another thing about this season ending short like this. They're just going to run back the small ball lineup, probably retool, try to get some more guys, because they never had a really full experiment with it. They had this short run where people looked really good, but they never made it to the playoffs, and we never got to see how it would evolve and how it would show in the playoffs, how it would be, like, would it translate, So I don't know. And frankly, we might not, never know, but if we do in this format, Nuggets versus Rockets in the first round, I'm going to go with another 7-game series, and I'm going Nuggets in 7. It's nice that I can be ballsy because these are all hypotheticals, but I'm like really looking at it like this is such a good matchup. I just could see like it's so weird without crowds, thinking about this without crowds, because I could see these home and home swings. But just basing it on the teams, I think that they'll both have hot and cold nights where they just get that. Like, I could see, here's the thing is, I could see this series going 7 and none of the games really being that close. I could see the Nuggets winning by 20 twice, the Rockets winning by 20 twice, and then maybe 1 or 2 close games. Like, I could see that type of series with how these teams play. Whereas that Jazz Thunder going 7, I think that'll be a great series where all the games will be close. I think that's just how I imagine. Maybe 1 or 2 not so close, but all right. And the final series to talk about for round 1 of the 2020 NBA playoffs, in this episode 1 spectacular for the 2020 NBA maybe playoffs, however you want to call it, will be the 2-seeded Clippers and the 7-seeded Mavs. The Clippers finished this form of the season at 44-20 and look to be the most formidable competition in the West for the Lakers. And the Mavs are led by Luka Doncic, and one of the most exciting NBA players there is right now. I love watching Luka, and he's only he's his second year, and he's amazing. But the Clippers outmatch the Mavs. The Clippers are way better than the Mavs. The Clippers would win this series. They won 2. They only played twice during the regular season so far, and the Clippers won twice. So I think the Clippers would definitely win this series, but I think it would be really entertaining to get to see Luka in the playoffs and to get to see him go against Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Now, an interesting thing I heard is if this season stops it with how it is, I think the Clippers, the whole, they traded everything away to get Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and all that stuff. And I think Kawhi Leonard has an opt-out next year's or Paul George does. Like, there's like a chance that since this is an unfinished season, there's a chance that next year's season is the only real full season they have at a shot at something with those guys. And they traded like a bajillion draft picks for him. So that would be an interesting scenario. But not to spend too much time on this matchup because I already said what I said. The Clippers would win this series. I'm going to go with Clippers in 5 here. Storyline wise, now that I'm just thinking out loud, I don't know if I said the storyline for the Nuggets Rockets series, but the storyline would be the small ball and whether or not it's going to work. And then it would be like, is Westbrook a winner? It would be those types of storylines. I think it'd be more about the small ball. Is small ball going to work? Is this a long-term option? Can we look at this as a real way to play basketball type thing? And then, so the Clippers in 6, and then the storyline for this series, I think would be, can the Clippers win it all? Can the Clippers really win it all? Can they take down the Lakers? We've seen Kawhi Leonard, do this with 2 other teams. Can he take this team to the finals? And it would be Luka Doncic, similar to what I said with John Morant as his first playoff run. I think this would be Luka Doncic's first playoff run, or just first playoff series. And with a guy like him who seems like he could be a future NBA Hall of Famer and somebody who might be in, 15 NBA playoffs, his first NBA playoff series, and I think he's going to ball out. I think that's going to be the storyline. It's going to be Luka averages like 30. They lose in 5, but Luka averages like 30 and 10. And we're just like, yeah, this is going to be one of the best guys in the NBA to come. So that is round 1. All right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 second round matchups for me to go over on the episode number 2 of the NBA Playoff Special Edition 2020. Maybe we don't even know if it's happening type thing. But I had fun doing that. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of the David Lopez Show. I appreciate you all as usual. Hope you are finding things to listen to and watch during this quarantine. I know I miss sports, and I know you guys probably do as well, so I'm trying to provide you all with some content to listen to during this time. Like I said, if you like NBA 2K or any video games, maybe go ahead and play some of these matchups that I was talking about, and let me know how they go. You can call into the show. Let me know you want to call in. Message me and let me know. We'll get you on the air, and we'll talk about how the matchups go. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, one love. I'll be back with another edition of these, and we'll have a lot more episodes for you guys to listen to. Remember, this shit is serious, and be safe out there. Stay healthy.